Hey, sorry for the abrupt ending. I ended up getting a phone call from a telemarketer, and that interrupted our recording. The telemarketer was from Spain because they knew we were going to try to eliminate their warband, and they wanted to put an end to it, but we'll teach them. But unfortunately, I think they're going to teach us. So I had started recording that I was going to do this action, right, where I have these three guys lined up, and we're going to do an action. And we were going to go out and, conquer the world. But then I realized there's a really strange rule in this game, or nuance, if you will. And that is battles with warbands only happen here. With the exception of maybe some development cards, they can only happen here when the warbands take their turn. We cannot initiate a battle. All we can do is move our warbands out to their location and then just end our turn. And then after we end our turn, when they start their turn, they're going to move, right? Well, it clearly says that if they attempt to move and they're already in a space with a band, they won't move. Right here, does not move. And then down here, they're actually going to initiate the battle, okay? So, and then to make matters worse is we're doing a battle while we are finished, because when we move out there, we're going to be finished. And I can't find the exact thing. When we're finished, we get a -1 to our die roll. So that's the reason why leaving a Comancheria to meet them in the field of battle actually hurts us, because we're getting a -1. Now, granted, we don't have to spend military points and all that jazz. As much as I wanted to go out and attack them, I can't. Well, I can, as I just explained, but the card is going to punish us this turn, right here, at the end of this turn's operation cleanup phase. The warbands have already moved. The opportunity to fight them is already behind us. We ended up not fighting them, so we are losing a military point. There's nothing we can do to stop that. So that means we're going to be losing 2 culture points, because we have 0 military points right now. So we're constantly just getting our culture points sucked dry, and I'm afraid I may have to just do another culture action, because I don't know any other way to overcome this. We could go out and do some hunting, which is nice. The population never hurts. We can go do some raiding, but there's actually the settlements and whatnot are not very close to us, but the raiding helps us in other ways. This is just an absolutely awful situation. I think at some point we sort of want them to attack us, so that way we can kill the warbands and get a little bit of peace here. But we're going to lose 2 more culture points, and there's nothing we can do. So instead of doing an action like I had here, I'm going to do another culture action again, because we're going to gain 2 points from this culture action, which we're going to lose at the end of this turn. Have to do it. Otherwise, we're down to 1 culture and 0 military. And looky here, they're ready to do a culture action there. So we have to be really careful. So I feel like I'm stuck in this loop right now. And in all honesty, I am stuck in a loop. And we're already moving up to the point where this period may end already, and we may have another passage of time. So here I go. I'm drawing. This is to see if they get a free action, or I'm sorry, not a free action. They get action points. So, and they do. They get 3. All right. So let's roll. I rolled a 2. The card says that the north activates, and then we're gonna roll again, and I got a 3. 1, 2, 3. That flips over. All right, well, the north is going to activate, and this is 3 action points, but that costs 5. So we're going to spend, or just put these 3 in here, and so now he's up to 4. And they don't actually do an action. Okay, so we finished the cleanup. I'm starting to do this off of memory, and this is when I start to make mistakes. So let's go back and just make sure. Okay, so we just finished all of this, and we're back up to the top. So we're doing the war bands again. So you can see that once you start to get the hang of the rules, it actually doesn't take very long to get through a turn. So this is happening to us. Actually, it happened to us before we got back to the warband phase. So we're losing the military point, and like I said, we're going to lose those 2 culture points we just gained. So we're in this little infinite loop problem. Okay, next. South moves 2, west moves 1. Okay, so there is no south warband, but the west is moving 1 to there. All right. When revealed, surprise attack. High strength war column with within 2 spaces of, I'm sorry, we don't do this. That's just for the movement. Now we're doing this. When revealed, bad intel. Increase strength of the lowest strength war column by 2. If greater than 1, then it applies to each of them. Well, that sucks. So that means the north band is going to go from a 1 to a 3, like this. All right, well, that hurts. The good news is there's no battles, so we move to our actions. Okay, both of them are within striking distance of us. We can start to try to do some raids. We can also try to do some hunting. If I do hunting, it's really going to be for the purposes of starting a new rancheria, right? I'm going to just move a unit out and then park it somewhere to start a new rancheria. The raids I would do because I want to raise my medicine level and Paraibo level, things of that nature. The problem I have is our rancheria is very far away from a raid. In fact, I got to move 3 spaces just to get to a raid. And we're looking at, because we have high strength units, we have only 4 movement points. So we would move out, raid, and then we would actually stop in their space, which I'm now learning is not a big deal. But stopping in their space becomes a big deal if there's a war band that forms in the space where they're sitting. And then also raid is a precursor to getting the success tokens, which allow us to do planning. And planning allows us to spend culture points to get military points. Okay, that's the first thing. And then, but the other thing is if we do a planning step, all of our units lose 1 strength. So we're in this weird situation where we need high strength units right now because they help with raids, right? High strength units do. But they also help us with the battles. And if I go out and do a raid, let me just play this out for you. So we take one of our 4 movement, 3 strength guys, and we go 1, 2, 3. We're allowed to move through enemies. That's not a problem because this represents miles and miles of space. So I move here, and that was 3 of my movement, and then I spend my final movement to raid. So I'll get to draw 3 raid tokens. Hopefully 2 of the 3 are going to be success. So that part's not the problem. The problem is now I'm stuck because I'm finished out in the middle of nowhere and I don't have enough movement points to make it back home. So then I need action points. And how many do I need? I need 3 because it's a 3 strength unit. I'm currently sitting on 0 action points. So that's my sticky wicket. I can also send another unit over here and raid here. Same outcome, same problem. Now I can send my 2 strength unit, which gets 1 more movement point, but I'm still going to be stranded out there. I'm not going to be able to come home. And then you got the other problem of these war bands. They could move towards us and attack us, and then any resources we gathered from raiding is destroyed. Lastly, if we're stranded out in the middle of nowhere and they actually get 2 movement points and come in and attack the rancheria, they're not there to defend the rancheria, and we could lose our last rancheria, which is just a disaster of epic proportions. Okay, so again, I feel very stuck. Now we can go out and hunt and come back and at least have some population points. I'm not too concerned because I still have food from the first round. So we still have some nice reserves right now. These wars stink. Let's just put it that way. Maybe next time I'll spend more food to get more units. I don't know. I formed a new rancheria, and I think that was just, it's always a risky thing. So what do? It gets back to that question. I could, like I said, I could raid, I accumulate success points, and until I actually do planning, I don't actually lose my strength in my units until that actually happens. I could go hunting and at least park a unit out in Lower Arkansas, so that way that unit can form a new rancheria, because we are at a point now where the passage of time might occur. So that's also an option. I don't know how much it helps us. It's definitely nice to be able to form a new unit. What do we do? Let me check one thing. Do the guns get used? So if we use a gun in battle, are they removed? I'm checking that real quick. You have to spend a guns counter. So you do lose the guns if you spend a guns counter to roll 2 dice. So that hurts. And yeah, we would need bison and captives to be able to trade for more guns, which helps. But how do we do that? Well, we have to raid. Man, I just feel like I can always just take 2 more culture points, which just doesn't hurt. And by having culture points, it's going to allow me to maybe buy a culture card, like trade level 2, or even the horsemanship level 1, which I'm starting to appreciate a bit more now. Now, the trade level 2, by the way, is that without even doing a trade action, I can trade a bison, horse, or captive and get a trade goods counter from the stock for free. So I have to really like trade goods, but I could do that. Trade goods aren't bad. They let me re-roll dice. And then the 3rd level one is really cool. Every time I conduct a trade action in a peace space, I gain a culture point for free. Now, granted, I had to spend 3 just to get it, but it's still, it can pay for itself if you do a lot of trading. I'm really stuck. So here's where I'm contemplating. I either go hunting. I don't think I can raid. The best I can do is hunt. Or I do another culture action. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hunt. So I'm going to put the 2, put them in that order. This one's going to go first, and he gets 5 movement points. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 movement points, and then that's going to cost 3 to kill the bison, which you can't do. If I take Bob with me, I could get the bison. Ugh, that is a tough choice. The reason I don't want to take Bob with me is because I want Bob to help me fight these bands. You know what? I'm going to take Bob with me. So Bob's going to be with me because Bob's my uncle. And then we're going to hunt this. And so now we have a bison with us as well. So that bison is going to help us to make him into a 3-strength unit. And when we form this new Rancheria, I want to have the most powerful unit possible to help defend that Rancheria, which we had last time, but remember the disease card hit us. And that's what caused us to ultimately lose. It's not a Rancheria yet, but we're at least positioned to make one, if I can call it that. All right, so I got 2 more guys. This one that's in the middle, he's going to go ahead and go. He has 4 movement points. We're just going to come out for 1 and then 3 more. Ooh, that would not be good. Yeah, we're going to do nothing with the middle guy, and then with the last guy, we're going to collect action points, and there was only 1 empty space, so we just got 1 action point out of that. Action points are good, so that wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it also, we spent a whole turn basically getting 1 bison so we can make a new Rancheria, which, yeah, fine, let's do it. Okay, so the good news with all that is we only have, one of these is finished because I used him to get action points, but the other one is not because I didn't use him. And so we have to roll a die against the finished units. I rolled a 5, we're fine. Otherwise they would have gotten a free action. Okay, now we're gonna draw to see what kind of action they get to do. And I draw a success. So they don't get to do, now they are gonna get to do an action because they have 4 action points here. So we're gonna roll a die and see what's gonna happen. I rolled a 1, which is the north. And then I'm gonna roll again. And I rolled a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This flips over. Now, this requires 5 action points. They only have 4. They still don't do anything. So we got, I don't know, a little bit lucky. So now we go back to the next round. Hold on, I forgot something. We have to roll. I rolled a 1, which I think means that we're at passage of time. So let's make sure. The marker is on the 3, okay? So if the result is less than or equal to the number position, then it moves to the must do passage of time space. So this thing moved, bing, all the way to passage of time. So it did happen, and actually I'm very happy we did that last action now, because we're gonna form a new Rancheria during this passage of time, and we're gonna be back in business. Now, it does mean that this warband here is probably gonna attack the new Rancheria instead of the old one, but I'm sort of okay with that. Okay, so we're back to the warbands, and I think this happens even though the passage of time thing, yeah, the passage of time thing doesn't kick in until 3.2. So we're gonna do the warband step first. And so let's do that. All right, so this goes to the bottom. And here you can see the west and the north are both gonna move 1. What would be interesting is I would like to see them fight each other. So here you can see the north is moving to there, and the west is moving to there. And were they really supposed to form a war column with a raid? I guess they were. I guess that's the difference. They don't go to war, the northern tribe. They just raid us. So their raid is the equivalent of someone else's war. Okay, I get it, I get it. All right. So they're both 1 space away from us, and that's always fun. And now we draw the next card. When revealed, fast moving column. Draw another war card and check for movement only. Do not roll to reduce war column strength. Do not draw another event. Oh, you know what? We were supposed to be doing that. I apologize. we're supposed to roll to see if their strength gets reduced. We should have done that twice now. So we're going to roll for the 3 strength Spanish unit. Okay, that was the first time, and now we're going to roll for this time. So he passed both times. Now, the Northern Tribe one was only 1 strength for a while, so we're going to roll for that. I rolled a 2. But now it's 3 strength because of the last event, and I rolled a 3. And it does not get reduced if you're equal. So my apologies. There's a chance that these work columns get reduced every turn, and after they do the move step. And so I forgot to do that. So my apologies. So now we do the when revealed, and what it's basically saying is they may move again, but this time we don't reduce strength. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back, and let's reveal the next one for movement only. And you can see it's east and south, which is neither of those guys. So we avoided a battle this turn. There's a part of me that sort of wishes they would have battled, but yeah, we'll leave it be. Okay, so we are now at the passage of time again. I'm sitting on 3 culture points. So mark all in-play bands as unfinished. So I'm going to reach outside of the camera here and mark one of the Rancheria A guys as unfinished. Player may spend resource counters from in-play Rancherias to create new band counters. So as it says, population points equals 1 plus the number of new bands already created. So every Rancheria can spend 1 population point to create 1 new unit. Right now I have 2 units in Rancheria A, and I'm going to leave it at 2. I'm not going to create a new one. And my logic being is if my Paraibo has a really good medicine rating, I can really rack up some action points. So let's see. Players may spend resource counters from any in-play bands in order to increase the strength. Each population point increases the strength of the band by 1. Now that I do want to do, because right here, this 2 strength unit with Bob is going to spend the bison, and we're going to go to a 3 strength unit, which is the only other one in the game, and we're going to use him to create the new Rancheria. Everybody else is already a 3 strength unit because we didn't buy any new units, so we're going to leave it be. Now, I could have spent the food and gotten a lower strength unit. I don't know. I mean, this is the thing where my lack of play experience is hurting me, but I'm going to leave it be. We're going to try to go lean here. Now it says, player may place a new Rancheria into a space. So we're going to do that. We're going to, all over again, we're going to get this B Rancheria back in the same place we had it last time, like that. It's given the Paraibo medicine rating equal to the new Rancheria's band strength. So the band strength is 3. So the Paraibo is going to be a 3. All right. If there's a Bob counter, exchange it, and the new Rancheria gets his medicine ID. So that is true. We do have a Bob counter. So I'm going to give the Bob counter back to A, and then the B Bob counter is here, and his medicine rating is going to be 2 because the old Bob counter was 2, and then this is going to go to 0. Player may voluntarily retire any Bob counter with a medicine greater than 1 in order to transfer his medicine to the Paraibo. So I can choose to retire him, which I will. I'm going to retire him for 2, and he's going to go up by 2. So then we do a headman death check. We roll a die for each in play, except for the Bobs that retired. And if the die roll is greater than or equal to the headman's medicine, no effect. If it's less than his medicine is reduced to that value. So this is where a trade good would actually be very helpful because we could re-roll. But that Paraibo that now has a medicine value of 5, I could lose it here. So it could have been the stupidest move I ever made. Let's find out. It is. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 1. This is awful. So my Paraibo, my headman, goes from a 5 all the way down to a 1. So let's roll for the next one. It was a 4, I rolled a 3, so he gets reduced by 1 as well. Jeez Louise. So now I'm going to roll for the first Bob and B. I rolled a 2, so his medicine rating is a 1. And then the other one, I rolled a 6, so his rating is a 3. So that was pretty brutal. Passage of time's not fun. Return all success counters, we don't have any. Return all resources on the operations track, there aren't any. Each tribe with a ravage token is removed. -1 military point if no tribe or settlement is removed. So that hurts us big time because now the culture points just dropped by 2. Roll a die for every ally that's in peace. We don't have any. Randomly select a territory and move a bison. So I rolled a 6. So here, where's the 6? Green. Green doesn't have any empty spaces, so we're going to take a bison from green. We get to put it somewhere. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right there in Upper Arkansas. Discard all cards in the development spaces. So that's done here. The player may purchase a culture card. We have only 1 culture point now, thanks to the stupid military penalty. I was actually going to buy one, but that ruined our day. Place the operations on start. And then we would do this check, but there's no number yet. So he just moves down, and that's it. We're basically back to operations cleanup. So remember, that was just this, and then we have to do the rest of this before we loop back up. We have no finished bands. They're going to draw and reveal. What do we got? All right, they got 2 enemy action points. So we roll. A 5 is the west. And the 3 happens. We needed to get a 1 because we just lost the game. So here we go. And the 2 is here. And you can see the west is doing a culture, which costs 3. So it'll be these 2. Plus 1 action point from here. And the culture is that we're going to lose 1, 2 culture points, which is 0, and I just lost the game. So I just had my ass handed to me. So what did I do wrong? I honestly don't know what I did wrong. Maybe my most honest answer is I think what I did wrong was maybe I rated too much. Like I had all these success points built up on the Bob track and I wasn't doing anything with it. I think taking the trade card and guns was not very helpful. So I think maybe something else could have helped me more in the beginning of the game. I think that the fact that I keep forgetting that you need to have at least 1 Ravage token on a tribe. Just 1. That's all you need, because then you get that tribe gets destroyed during the passage of time if it has a Ravage token. And if that tribe gets destroyed, you don't lose a military point for that. The fact that military points go away and there's no way to get them back unless you do a planning phase is brutal. And then the way these war bands had me trapped And the way I was in this infinite loop of having to do culture only to lose the culture, and then have to do culture only to lose the culture, that was an awful loop to be in, and that was really the end of our game there. This was just, we just basically lasted, we had our cancer diagnosis, and, we fought it for a few months, but it eventually got the better of us. I mean, that's really what happened. When we ran out of military points, and we constantly had to keep losing 2 culture points every time we had to lose a military point, that was when our game was over. So how do I fix that? What do I do differently? Feel free to add some suggestions. I mean, somebody else suggested that I grab culture more in the beginning. I thought it was an interesting idea. I mean, I hate the idea of spending a whole action just to get 1 culture point. However, we did learn that when I do a culture action, the enemy tends to not do anything themselves. So I'm not losing military and culture points because they're attacking me. There's another part of me that thinks, in the beginning, when they can't, they're not allowed to do war, they're not allowed to do subjugate. So there was a lot of times when they were taking actions that nothing happened, right? It just skipped their whole action. There's a part of me that thinks that I actually was on the right track in the beginning. You got to be as aggressive as hell right away. I liked the idea that I got to a point where I was able to get 3 culture points, right? Because we controlled 1 region, we had a Rancheria in a second region. What's to stop me maybe from starting 2 Rancherias? 1 right here and another one there. Why? Maybe I should start 2 Rancherias. And so now I have 4 culture points coming my way. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe I should consider that. This whole moving the medicine track, I'm not sure I like it. In fact, I don't like it. Here's what I really didn't like about it. This guy was like at a 3 or a 4. I think it was a 3. And he was like also I think he was at a 2. So I decided to retire him to bump him up to a 5. Then the very next step of the game, I roll a die and then find out he drops all the way to a 1. That thematically ruins things for me. And I know it's supposed to represent the guy retiring and all that stuff, but he retired. What it was supposed to represent is he stopped being the war guy and he started to become the village elder. That's the reason why this went up. So all of his war experience made him more strong. But then, he immediately became the village elder, and then he died of a heart attack the next week, and then boom, he drops down to 1. I guess, yeah. But I never get to enjoy the bonus of retiring a guy. Now, my logic is since he was only at a 2, after I roll a die, he's not going to be any worse, right? Because once he retires, I have to roll a die, and he's not going to be any worse. It ended up backfiring because I rolled a 2, and I ended up getting a 1. But in most cases, I would be at a 2 or a 3. So it backfired even more on me. But this was a huge backfire there. And I think that's where the trade goods really come in, because you can actually roll another die and sort of negate that bad roll that I had. So I don't know. That's a thing. The other thing is I'm realizing that, remember I was so aggressive at getting 3 Ravage tokens so I could destroy the tribe? I'm realizing I don't have to do that. I just need to make sure they have 1 Ravage token and they get destroyed during the passage of time. And so that means I would have had more actions to do other things. And if you remember, I spent 6 trade goods to just get 1 more Ravage token on the sucker. I don't think I have to do all that. I think I can just, relax a little bit there. And let me check. Each tribe settlement with 1+ Ravaged is removed. Yeah, so the tribe or settlement is removed. And that's the other thing too, is we can remove that enemy settlement by putting a Ravage on there. And if he's not able to heal it before the passage of time, we get rid of those suckers. So that way when that culture action comes up, it's not hurting us so badly. So anyways, there's your playthrough. I just want to give an update. I probably will try to play this again. So remember I told you the puzzle's interesting. I am a little frustrated, but I still like the puzzle. I'm going to think about it some more. So I may do another playthrough of this, and so you may get to see that. I do think you had a very nice representation of how this game plays, even if I didn't last very long. It reminds me of Pandemic in a way. Sometimes the game just doesn't go your way, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think in this one I had some choices that I could have made better. Okay, some updates. I did pre-order Cloudspire. I was not a backer, I was a pre-order guy. So they're shipping out to backers first, and then I'm going to be getting pre-order next. So they told me it was going to be like 2 or 3 weeks, and that was last week. So Cloudspire is coming very, very soon. I'm definitely getting Cloudspire to the table. In fact, I play Too Many Bones quite a lot, and I'm always sheepish about showing you guys that one just because there's so many ambiguous rules, and I'm sure Cloudspire is going to be the same way, but you may get to see Cloudspire. I actually play a lot of Steam games on the PC, and I have a Nintendo Switch. I play that a lot. Fire Emblem Three Houses consumed, I think my last save game, I'm at 170 hours in that game. I play it a lot. I would love to show you Fire Emblem Three Houses. I am quite good at it. I play on all the hardest levels. I'm on my 4th playthrough right now. I've done every possible ending in the game. I just don't have the ability to figure out how to record a Switch game. But the whole reason I bring that up is that was distracting me from playing board games. And I'm further distracted because Dragon Quest 11 is coming out in a week. And so is Zelda, Link's Awakening. So those are both games that I had pre-ordered on the Switch, and I'm all ready to go. So they will take me away from the table. I love playing those games. So also on Steam, Age of Wonders Planetfall has been consuming my time. I play a lot of Europa Universalis still. I love that game. And my kids actually play Hearts of Iron, which I don't care for as much. And that Man the Guns expansion ruined it for me because submarines are somehow better than carriers all the time. And carriers aren't as useful. I don't know. It really bothers me the way they handled that expansion. I also think I have to micromanage too much in that game, but my kids love it, and they're very good at it. More board games. So like I said, Cloudspire is coming. I also have Combat coming. It'll arrive sometime next week. I do not know how to play Combat, but it looks very fun. And if it's not, then so be it. And then I also have another GMT game coming. It's called Civilizations of the Inner Sea. And that one looks interesting because it has AI bots for up to 6 players. And it's more of a Civilization style game, which I'm totally into. And since it's GMT, I'm expecting some pretty good quality. So I don't know much about that game. That was sort of a blind purchase for me. But it checked all the boxes that I usually look for in a game. So I'm eager to try both of those out. I was told that, War Room is coming in the next few weeks. That is not a solitaire game, but you might see me and the kids playing that for you. So yeah, all of a sudden things are really heating up. Getting quite busy. The other thing is, I can't promise anything, but there's this game called Dungeon Crusade. You may have heard of it, you may not have. It's not made by any big publisher, but I do personally know the person who's developing it, and there is a good chance that through his good graces, we might be able to get that one to the table early. Like before those of you who ordered it get your copy. So, it would be his copy, of course, but we're going to see what we can do. No promises there, absolutely none. He's under a lot of pressure. He's already way behind on his schedule to get the game delivered. He has 100 other things he needs to do, then sit on a Skype call with me and, walk us through a game just so we can see it. And he's also done his own playthrough videos, so he doesn't necessarily need somebody to do it. And if he was to hire somebody, it's not going to be a schmuck like me who never edits anything. So anyways, I just wanted to just say that there's a chance. But, you know, it's like Dumb and Dumber. Okay, enough of that. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. And maybe you'll see me get this to the table again later this evening. And we'll see what we can do. Talk to you later.